I want to go back over like my methodology and how it came about. So I had already shared on another video how, you know, after I was a teacher for like a decade, a special education teacher. I taught grades VPK through 8th grade was the oldest grade that I taught, and I loved it, and I felt I'm a very confident teacher. I did not play sports. There are many things I cannot do, but something that I can do is I can teach. I'm very, very good at teaching. I love it. And after I had my babies, I became a stay-at-home mom, and I just wanted to get back into the world of education in whatever way that I could. And so, again, I explained this story a little bit more in depth in another video, but I became a tutor for a family in my area, and then I became their advocate super organically. And the reason why I wanted to step in, or I started to like really visualize this role as an advocate, because while I was a special education teacher, if an advocate was in attendance, everybody was on edge. Everybody was on the defense. It made for a very extra stressful and performative meeting. And I was quite a naive person, and I couldn't understand why. I'm like, this seems so cut and dry. We're all here to help this child. What is this like? What are these dynamics? And so I had to observe a lot of these meetings in order to conclude, because in education, unfortunately, a lot of people allow you to just read in between the lines. People don't want to lose their license. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to over-explain or say something that they're not supposed to say. And what I observed is that it left way too much room for confusion, way too much room for people to not understand what they're meaning. They're saying one thing, but they kind of mean another, and it's just very confusing. So advocates would come in, and the most recent advocate company that I had the pleasure of experiencing drew out an annual IEP meeting to a 4.5-hour long meeting over the course of 2 days. And it was so alarming that I looked into this company, and the company, I found out, was charging these families like $300+ an hour. And I just felt really disturbed by that. I felt like they are taking advantage of people who are in positions of feeling very protective and afraid over their child's education. And just because your child has a disability does not mean that bad things are automatically happening to that child, right? Like, we should never assume the worst in preparation of these meetings. So I just want to outline how an IEP meeting should be, okay? You should have communication in advance. Let's say the meeting is on January 1st, for the sake of just easy. January 1st. Maybe in December, you reach out to the teacher, or the teacher reaches out to you. You probably have that date on the schedule, right? You already know that it's coming. We should be preparing as a team in advance to make sure that nothing is going to be a surprise at this meeting. You can ask questions. How are they doing here? How are they doing there? Do their goals seem appropriate? Are they making like solid progress? Like, are there any other areas that we should be concerned about? How are they doing socially? How are their friendships? How is their attitude? How do they feel about themselves as a learner? Are they feeling confident? Are they participating in class? Are they playing on their own? Do they struggle with transitions? Okay, et cetera, et cetera. So we're preparing for this meeting. The day of the meeting, maybe a week before the meeting, you could just ask. Legally, they don't have to have anything done. They don't have to have anything finalized, but maybe in advance, you could just tell the teacher, whenever you have a draft of the IEP, could I look over it beforehand? And at that point, if you have an advocate, they would look over the document with you. Look over everything, look over the goals, make revisions, make suggestions. It should be all good to do that. Then The day of the meeting comes, you're there. Nothing should be out of left field. Nothing should be a surprise to you. The goals should make sense. Maybe you go back and forth, or like you make like minor adjustments for like verbiage or wording. Maybe you want like a little bit more services here or a little less like, you know, services there, whatever. Minor adjustments should be made. You should have a solid understanding of the accommodations. Then we agree as a team. Everybody kind of shares how, you know, how is Jesse doing over here? How is Jesse doing over there? You get all on the same page, and then you would sign off. There would be nothing. It should take 45 minutes to an hour. That's that. There really should, unless we're talking about some serious things going on, like if like serious, maybe if they have had an incident and we're going over an incident report, or if there's like a new like dangerous, like a very like intense level of concern about something, mental health, maybe we have to add, who knows? There would have to be like extraordinary circumstances for an IEP to be that long. It should not be that way. So that's kind of my advice for IEPs. My vision for advocacy was to be a win-win-win. It should be, I come in, I have my creative solutions, I'm a professional, I have my master's degree in special education, make me work, like put me to work, give me a challenge. Let's figure out, like, is there a math teacher that's having a really hard time with so-and-so? Let me hear about it. Let me talk to that math teacher on my own without mom, and then I can translate to mom in the future. It should be, teachers are happy to have me, the parent is happy to have me, and I am happy to have me. It should be a win-win-win. And what are we all doing this for? The child. At the end of the day, it just matters that the child is getting the best education that they can. There should be no me trying to pin the mom against the teacher. That is toxic. There is no room for that. The only time, and I have been in these situations because it does happen, but it is not the rule, it is the exception, is if I have to come in because the school is wrong. If the school is wrong, if the services are off, if these incident reports are wrong, if staff members are harassing students, which happens for a behaviorally fragile child, if a child is on the autism spectrum, if the child has trauma, if the child, for whatever reason, there are sometimes staff members that end up instigating behavior. And in those cases, when I have to come in, I have no problem being the bad guy. I have no problem saying, this is not on the child. This referral or this documentation of them doing X, Y, and Z that is bad, that is not on the child. We have a documentation, we have a whole evaluation, we have an IEP that says they are very sensitive around these topics. So the adult, a paraprofessional, instigating the situation, that's not fair for the child to have that on their record if nothing is on the record of the paraprofessional or whatever teacher that could have been instigating. That does happen, but that is not the rule. That is the exception. So all of this to say that I am really working on growing this vision that just redefines what this role is, right? Teachers have 30 kids on a caseload. That's a lot of extra work to then like have to off the clock educate and like really like hold the hand of parents through the process of special education due process. That's a lot to ask for. And that is what I would be happy, and what I am so happy to do, is to translate all of this stuff so that when we get to those meetings, it's super smooth. It's very simple. Everyone feels good. It's positive. Like, how many times, like, and parents, if you're watching this and you've been to many IEP meetings, the goal should be to leave the meeting feeling good. And that is not the case very often. Typically, people leave the meeting and they're tense, or they feel defeated, or they feel disappointed, or they feel like their child is not doing well, or whatever. And that just should not be the case. So I think I covered all the bases for that. Yeah. And I think I'm going to create, I might already actually have it. I've been working on some documents that people can either purchase, or some that I'm going to offer for free that you can just download and like prepare yourself for the meeting. even if you don't have an advocate, if you don't have me there with you, which I would love to be there with you because I love this stuff, but if you don't, you at least have, you feel prepared. You can go there with the right questions that are worded the right way so that you actually get an answer. Because sometimes we have a question and we ask, and then the teachers are not legally allowed to answer, and so you have to kind of know what questions to ask so that you can get the answers that you deserve.